1 year ago, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s win in the Battle of Richmond, his 6th of 7 victory lane visits for the year, helped him to eventually win the season-long war with Matt Kenseth, thus allowing him the distinction of being named NASCAR's Busch Series Grand National Champion. Earlier this year, Richmond proved less forgiving for the third-generation titleist, as problems relegated him to a 32nd place finish, while arch-rival Kenseth zoomed to the points lead after a steady third-place run. The two have continued to wage their season-long tug-of-war, and with just 7 events remaining, tonight's Battle of Richmond can have a lot to say about who of these two leaves here as the points leader, as Kenseth's latest charge has trimmed the margin to a scant 26 points. So sound the bugles, wave the flags. The Busch Series Grand National Siege of Richmond is next.
Last year here at Richmond, Matt Kenseth finished 3rd in the spring race and 4th in the fall. But folks, these guys are always trying to get better. So earlier this year in the spring race here at Richmond, they brought a different kind of car here, a drop snout chassis from Hutcherson-Pagan, and they finished 3rd in that race. So you would think they'd bring that car back, right? Well, no, because in their continued pursuit of perfection, this team brought a different car. This is a Laughlin car, and this car finished 4th at Indianapolis Raceway Park earlier this year. But Matt says it's a very, very loose race car here at Richmond, and they qualified 30th, a long way to go to get to the front. Dale Earnhardt Jr. rolls off 20th in a car they call Stepchild. This car has won the last 2 fall races here at Richmond. But in the spring, Junior crashed this car in practice. They had to go to a backup car, and he wrecked that car in the race. They finished 32nd. Little Lee has not led in 3 of the last 4 Busch races, and he knows to keep his point lead, he's got to get to the front and stay there.
While Earnhardt and Kenseth have dominated the season, it's the Burton boys of Virginia that have been the big story here at Richmond for the last 2 days. For example, Jeff Burton qualified on the pole, a position he's really not all that familiar with. And directly behind him, in 3rd place, his brother Ward in the 47 car, replacing Andy Santerre, who was released earlier this week. So why will Ward start at the rear of the field? Well, because he's in a backup car, after crashing in the morning practice, after getting a tap from his brother. The two discussed the incident. Well, actually, Ward did most of the talking. Now we'll have to do a lot of racing in a field sprinkled with Winston Cup stars, including 3 of the top 4 starting positions.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Live coverage of the Autolite 250 on Motor Racing Network.
All right, as the field of 43 roars alive, take a look at 7 events remaining here in the NASCAR Busch Series season. And there's the margin everyone's talking about, 26 points separating Matt Kenseth from Dale Earnhardt Jr. Look, 6th through 10th, those positions could shuffle depending upon the outcome here at Richmond tonight. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing welcome you live to the ultra-modern Richmond International Raceway for tonight's 19th running of the Busch Series Grand National Division Autolite Platinum 250. The starting lineup and the green flag when we come back. Brought to you by the more than 2,700 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By ESPN Video. Get your officially licensed NASCAR videos from ESPN Video. And by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and ATVs. Welcome back to Richmond, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch along with Kyle Petty and Benny Parsons. Take a look at our Suzuki starting lineup, guys. A lot of Winston Cup experience starting toward the front of the field.
See Jeff Green on the outside, great qualifying run. Never see Burton and Martin. So, Bill, as Bill Weber told you, 3 of the top 4 NASCAR Winston Cup drivers.
And Kyle Petty, 59 cars here to qualify in the Busch Series, and I'm told they're going to have as many as 70 or 75 as we progress toward the end of this year and into next.
Yeah, you know, there's more and more Winston Cup teams that are talking about starting Busch teams. There's more guys that are talking about entering the Busch ranks. This is the state of Virginia. This is Richmond. I've always said everybody in the state of Virginia who has a late model car also has a Busch car, and they bring it to Richmond to showcase what they can do in front of these Winston Cup owners.
Taking a look at more Winston Cup regulars. There's Kenny Schrader. 43 cars will start for 250 laps. There's the points leader, Earnhardt Jr. outside of row 10. Remember the margin, a scant 26 points. Kenny Wallace holds the track record here. I should say the race record. You see the starting lineup moving outside of row 12. Bobby Hamilton Jr., Mike Skinner, who is the pole sitter for the NASCAR Winston Cup event. Will be run here live tomorrow night on ESPN. And qualifying is completed earlier today. And Benny Parsons, I guess a lot of the Winston Cup guys were saying here that this race tonight does indeed help them a whole lot for tomorrow night.
Because all the practice is done here at the Richmond International Raceway in the daytime. The races all are run at night. These NASCAR Busch Series drivers, they haven't seen this racetrack the way it's going to be tonight under these cool temperatures. Neither will the Winston Cup drivers until tomorrow, except the guys that race tonight.
And Kyle, it is the exact same Goodyear tire tonight that you guys will race with tomorrow night.
Yeah, and that's a big advantage for these guys that are running the race tonight. Some of the guys, Adam, my son, and a couple of other guys run these races, run the truck race last night to get some seat time to see what the race was going to be like tonight, because this is their big race, and it works exactly the same way. Some of these guys running the same tire tonight in Winston Cup. The Winston Cup drivers are going to get the experience over us guys who are sitting up here in the booth with you doing this. I don't have a clue what this tire is going to do tomorrow night because of you, Jerry Punch. How you like that?
I'm sorry, Kyle, but we really appreciate you being here. Mr. Hot Wheels himself up here in the booth calling the actions. We get set for racing. You saw we have 6 in-car cameras, and I'll show you action up close and personal as Jeff Burton will lead them down to the green flag.
Almost got some contact between the 37 of Kevin Grubb and the 50 of Mark Green.
They call Richmond the action track. We saw a little rub of Grubb there just a moment ago. Kevin and Wayne Grubb, the brothers who are just from Mechanicsville, Virginia, about a mile and a half to 2 miles away as the crow flies from this racetrack.
Oh, here we go. Back in the battle there as we see Skinner on the outside of Robert Presley. That's Skinner in the yellow freight 19. Robert Presley in the 61. All these guys trying to figure it. There's Chad Chapman in the 77. His first ride in the Lear car, that dark red car on the outside.
And Kyle, we've seen them 2 wide and sometimes 3 wide here in the early laps.
You know, these guys are all fighting for position. I think when they dropped the green flag, you saw Jeff Green try to get to the inside of the racetrack real quick. Last night during the truck race, the outside line was quick, but everybody wants to get the good off their tires down on the inside, and it's forced them to run 2 and 3 wide through these corners. And with this new sealer, with some of the sealer that's on here, and these new tires, they seem to be capable of doing it so far.
There's Dick Trickle, Vinny, and he's got a long way to go.
Battle for second spot as we see Todd Bodine driving up on the inside of Jeff Green. Now we see Jeff Green drive on the outside. How's this top lane going to work here tonight?
We are watching from Mark Martin's Winn-Dixie roof camera. He is back in the 4th position, trying to decide, do I go high with Green? Do I stay on the inside and go with Todd? Or
they hit. They make contact. And here comes Mark. He's going to try to make it 3 wide, and Spencer following him.
Mark Martin deciding, Kyle, I better get by this wreck before it happens.
You know, right now, the outside groove is just a little bit better, and it's a little bit tackier because of the sealer. Todd got in that corner just a little bit hot on the slick part of the racetrack, and all but just took himself and Jeff out. Did a great job of staying off of Jeff.
These panoramic views of the action up front, courtesy of the fine folks at the Outlaw Copter Cab, flying high above Richmond International Raceway.
Oh, Mark about got into Todd Bodine once again as we ride along in the Winn-Dixie Ford. And now look at Kevin Grubb driving up on the outside of Jimmy Spencer. That's a battle for the 5th, 6th spot.
And there's that outside line working, and nobody runs outside line better than Jimmy Spencer, and he's getting passed on the outside.
Got a car. Chad Chapin spins right at the start-finish line, and there's the car. He's got it straightened up, and a lot of cars slowing down. No caution flag. He did a complete Joey Chitwood-style 360 in that Lear Ford. Got it going in the right direction. No one hit him, and we are none the worse for wear.
And we see all that smoke. Very similar to something happened the last night in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Todd's still working the bottom of the racetrack, and he can work the bottom of the racetrack when he has the whole racetrack because he lets the cars slide out to the wall.
Show you again that spin we're talking about just a moment ago. The 77 car right there.
Chaffin goes round.
Meanwhile, this battle continuing for second position. Todd Bodine, the Trop Arctic Chevrolet, yet to win this year. Battling with the 32 car. That's the Kleenex car of Jeff Green. Now Bodine will have a shot on the inside.
When you can't use the whole racetrack, the inside works just fine as long as you come off and use the entire racetrack. But when you can't come off and let their car grip up against the outside retaining wall, it really restricts how fast you can get around the track. Watch Kevin Grubb back there beating on the back bumper of Mark Martin.
Kevin Grubb, the car number 37. There's Mark Martin's view from the roof camera, watching the Bodine Green battle in front of him. There's Grubb, then Spencer. Grubb, the 37 car. Spencer, the white number 12. That's second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth right there on your screen. Of course, Jeff Burton, the 9 car, is the leader.
Mark Martin, the Winn-Dixie Ford. Camera on the back bumper, looks back at Kevin Grubb.
You see Mark Martin, a 5-time winner here, including this Springs event in Busch Series competition.
Spencer trying to go on the inside of Grubb. We saw Kevin pass him just a moment ago. Now Spencer trying to get him back.
Now watching behind this battle is Shane Hall. There's Shane's roof camera. Shane, the car number 43, being shown back in the 7th spot, watching that battle for 6th and 5th.
Spencer says this ought to be easy. I should be able to drive down and get up on the inside of what's going on here, he's saying. God, what's going on?
Yeah, it's a totally different racetrack than it's ever been before. I've never seen the outside groove work like it did last night in the truck race, and it started and picked up in the same position that it left off. That outside groove is really working.
Well, we are in the early laps at Richmond International Raceway for the 19th running of the Autolite Platinum 250. And Jeff Burton, who was our pole sitter with a brand new car, is showing the way. Green, Bodine, Martin, and Kevin Grubb rounding out the top 5. We'll be right back. Back at Richmond International Raceway, I'm Jerry Punch along with Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, and Bill Weber and Ray Dunlap covering the action. We are live with the NASCAR Busch Series Autolite Platinum 250. The sun setting over this gorgeous 3/4 mile facility at Richmond International Raceway. Now here is Matt Kenseth in the car number 17, who started back in 30th position and now is being shown in 27th. So he hasn't made a whole lot of progress, struggling to make a pass.
Trying to get on the inside of Mike Skinner and take that spot away. That would only be 26th position. And he's having trouble with Skinner doing that. I think track position with the outside lane working the way it is going to be crucial here tonight, Kyle.
Yeah, track position is always critical on a short track, but it seems, some sparks coming off the double zero. He's got a flat left front. Flat left front right there.
Buckshot trying to get the car down to the inside. Will be coming down pit road to the attention of Ricky Pearson and company. Battle for third happening simultaneously. Todd Bodine trying to hold off, and Mark Martin has an opening now on the inside. See if they can make it stick entering turn 3, and they both slip a little bit.
And a battle for the lead. Here's Jeff Green, that Kleenex car on the outside, and goes by Jeff Burton and takes the lead.
And Martin will have Bodine by about a foot at the start-finish line. Now Todd Bodine moves back to the high side. Now Martin awfully good coming off turn 2 last time by. But like you said, Kyle, he has to pinch the car down and can't get back in the throttle.
Yeah, you see right dead in the center of the corner, they're almost even. As they start up off of it, the outside line just has the momentum, and she carries that momentum down the length of the straightaway and is able to get the preferred line going in the corner, which is right now the high side.
Both these drivers doing a masterful job not to have any contact. And now Martin will pull back in behind Todd, but I wonder if he'll try to make a move up high if he can get on the outside of Bodine.
Well, but he can't get on the outside because Todd Bodine is not going to let that happen.
Let's check in the pits with Ray Dunlap. Ray?
Well, Doc, we're taking a look here at this tire that just came off Buckshot Jones' car. You see there's a pretty serious cut right here, but he's also got a few places up here on the top where the tire is separated from the rim there, and we've got a few lacerations in it. I asked the crew chief down here if they knew what happened. He said, not sure yet, but he said, looks to me like he must have run over something.
Yeah, those lacerations will happen when that tire goes flat, and as they come in on the flat tire, it will cut that tire up.
There's the 00 back on the racetrack now. Todd Bodine a moment ago had a scary moment coming off of turn 2. We'll show you what happened to the Trop Arctic Chevrolet.
Comes off the corner, and all of a sudden, no, we start sliding, and Mark Martin just says, let me get out of this wreck, and he does.
He loses a position. Bill Weber?
Well, the conversation between Todd and his crew was very short. Very loose off of turn 2. And 4. We'll fix that when he pits.
And 4.
Man of few words, but he was a man of a lot of action a moment ago. Had a handful of steering wheel held on to that race car.
You know what was interesting when he...
Oh, we got a crash.
Got 2 cars in it off of turn 2. Mike McLaughlin.
We've got a wreck coming out of 2. Caution is out. 2 cars against the wall coming out of 2. Be careful over there.
Mike Dillon in the 59 car. Mike McLaughlin in the 34.
That was Matt Kenseth's radio. John Reiser, the spotter for Matt Kenseth, who is the father of Robbie Reiser, who owns a car. So caution coming out here on lap number 30 for the first time tonight.
I don't understand what that fire is underneath the 34 car. It isn't severe, but you can imagine where that fire would be coming from. We see what the fire is on the 59 car. The left front tire, once again, is flat.
Remember, Mike McLaughlin had a bad fire here a few years ago, come right up through the shifter boot here in the start-finish line. Here's the action again, that first caution flag, and both those cars slamming the outside wall. Is that the 5 car went beneath them there, the 5, and then the 44 of Justin Labonte makes it by on the inside. See if we can watch from Dick Trickle's viewpoint.
Those 2 guys just made contact as they came off the corner and right in front of Dick Trickle.
It looks like the 59 got in the back of the 34, and when the 59 checked up, Trickle got in the back of the 59 and drove him back into it. If you saw it from the first angle again.
A hard impact for Mike McLaughlin. That's sort of been indicative of the kind of miserable luck he has had this year. And there is Mike Dillon in the Kingsford charcoal car, showing a few sparks from around the grill area as they head to pit road, and we are in the early laps. 31 of 250 are complete. Jeff Green, our leader. ESPN Sports Center coverage coming up at 11 o'clock Eastern time tonight. What a night for sports. How about Sammy Sosa trying to make Major League history? He and the Cubbies are out in the Astrodome taking on Houston. Could become the first player to ever hit 60 home runs in consecutive years. We'll update the action through the night and also on Sports Center. How about an NFL shootout coming up Monday night, Marino and Greasy, as the Dolphins take on the Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos, and Sister Act, Serena and Venus Williams at the U.S. Open. That's all coming up. Sports Center, 11 o'clock Eastern time tonight. What a beautiful shot of Richmond International Raceway as we are working caution for the first time tonight. Coming out on lap number 31 as we show the action off of turn 2.
There we see McLaughlin, the Goosebump car, slamming in that outside retaining wall. There once again we see him. Dick Trickle turns left. The 59 car once again is Mike Dillon involved. Mark Martin comes off and sees that, turns left. Boy, it's a beautiful sight, isn't it?
Boy, what a shot, and that is a gorgeous sight. Folks, there are 97,000 seats here. They will all be full tomorrow night for the NASCAR Winston Cup event. Plus, with the suites filled, I am told by Wayne Sawyer we're expecting a record crowd of over 104,000. And what a great crowd tonight for NASCAR Busch Series action. Couldn't ask for a better night under the stars here in Henrico County, Virginia. NASCAR action coming your way live on ESPN. 34 of 250 laps are complete. Jeff Green is our leader. Welcome back to Henrico County, Virginia, Richmond International Raceway. That shot from high above this beautiful facility, courtesy of the fine folks at the Outlaw Copter Cam, hovering above as we will once again show you why we are under caution for the first time tonight. Kyle?
Yeah, this is the end car from the 5 car from Dick Trickle. You see as they come up out of the corner, they're passing Jason Leffler. The 59 car just barely gets into Mike. And when he does, he checks up, and then Trickle's got no place to go but to get in the back of Mike Dillon in the 59 car. And that's why they were sitting in the position they were with the 59 back into the 40 or to the 34. They just bottlenecked right there.
All right, cars are getting ready for the green flag. We see Buckshot on the inside trying to get up there to get a lap back.
Buckshot got a really good run because he was trying to get to the front of the line right quick, and he took off back way over on the back.
He was wide open down the back stretch. Everyone else was in line waiting for the green flag, and that momentum allowed him to go by Jeff Green. So at least momentarily, he is. And when he comes by, he'll be on the tail end of the lead lap. And they are going to black flag one car as they go by. As we'll check and see who that is as we check in the pits with Ray.
Well, Doc, the car is not okay. The driver is okay. And, Mike, I know you had an awfully hard hit out there. This is getting pretty silly as many times as we've met early in the race this year.
Well, anytime you're involved this early is not good. We just have to put it all together and go back next week.
The good thing is maybe you've used up all the bad luck, and next year is going to be the best season ever, right?
That's a nice thought. We'll go with that.
Okay, Mike McLaughlin with an average finish of 21.5 here at Richmond. This has not been one of his good tracks.
Tough break again for Mike McLaughlin. 6 DNF this year, and all of them have been due to accidents. There's the 27 car of Casey Atwood, who was in 18th position. He looks like he has cut a tire down as well. Had some contact with the outside wall up in turn 4. And he indeed, Benny, has just pancaked the right side of that car.
He does make it down the pit road. Watch as he comes off the corner. Gets just a little bit too high. Doggone, they put that wall about 3 feet too close to the racetrack. I'm sure he picked up some push coming off that corner and just...
Then he picked up some concrete.
And
that's one thing on cold tires running on the outside. You know there's debris on the outside, and you get in that stuff, and it'll just take off on you sometimes.
And it's Spencer running awfully strong in that number 12 car. Drives up on the inside of Mark Martin, but we've seen this inside line. It's difficult to pass.
That's the Winn-Dixie onboard camera looking back at Jimmy Spencer in his Zippo Chevy. Mark Martin in second spot. Now Spencer has the car. Left side tires down underneath that yellow line. But as he heard Benny say, he could not make it stick.
A lot of these cars are working really well on the bottom of the racetrack. They're just not going anywhere on the bottom of the racetrack speed-wise. Like I said, the outside line, we just harped on it all night long. There just seems to be a lot of momentum up there to carry these guys up off the corners and down the straightaways.
Look at those top 4 cars, Kyle. I don't think any of them could pass the other car. If Mark Martin were in front, I don't believe the other guys could get by him. Just like it's almost impossible to get by Jeff Green. As we see Randy LaJoie in the 1 car on the inside of Jason Keller in 57.
That is for 13th position. There's the 1 car.
Now you say, well, how did Randy LaJoie do on the inside? That's because the 57 backed off and let him have that spot. That's why he was able to do it so easily.
These cars circulate. Will remind you the banking here in the turns is 14 degrees. That's not a lot. 8 degrees on the front straightaway, 2 degrees on the back stretch. Basically a D-shaped 3/4 mile oval. And there's Earnhardt Jr. running right up on the back of the 98 car. That's the Lysol machine of Elton Sawyer. That is for position. They are battling for 9th spot.
And we see some damage. Kyle saw it just a moment ago. Some damage to the right rear of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s ACDelco Chevrolet.
Started back in 20th position. You see his progress now. He was being shown in 10th spot at lap 47. That's where he rides right now. The 98 car in front of him is 9th. The 43 car behind him, that's Shane Hall. He is in 11th. Now there's the damage that Kyle was talking about.
Yes, it looks like somebody's just got into his right rear corner, and the quarter panel's just pushed out right there. The bumper's in as he picks up another position here. I mean, he's coming to the front. He's one of the few cars that's able to pass on the inside or the outside and is making some steady progress through some really good race cars.
All right, there's the car number 98 of Elton Sawyer. You see that Help America's Children, the children's health situation. Now, the deal is this. If Elton were to win this race tonight, Lysol, his sponsor, would donate $1 million to that charity. And so there's a lot of people from the Children's Health Organization who are absolutely pulling for Elton Sawyer to win and get that $1 million donated courtesy of the fine folks at Lysol for a wonderful charity.
You're right. They get $25,000 just for him starting the race. Oh, might have been a little contact there between Jeff Green and Mark Martin. Once again, I think there is a $25,000 donation just for starting the race, but a $1 million donation if they can pull it off tonight.
Wow, that'd be awesome. You're looking at Jeff Green there. Jeff led the most laps here in the May race. So back he led 80 laps, ended up finishing 5th. He's led the most laps this year in Busch competition, 817 laps coming into the night. So he's obviously had a very, very good race car here. Talking about that Kleenex car that's leading with Mark Martin back in second spot right on his bumper.
See the 93 car about to lose a spot to Shane Hall. That's Dave Blaney in 93 and Shane Hall in 43. Kenny Wallace in the red and white number 25 as Blaney about loses a back end off the corner.
You know,
here's Mark on the inside. Does he have the run to get the job done? Looks like he's going to do it this time.
Kyle, he got a good run on the bottom of the racetrack.
He got a good run, but at the same time, I think Jeff checked up a little bit, and he's smart enough to know that, hey, we're gonna be faster if you lead and I run second than we are if we run side by side.
Benny, here's LaJoy. You talked about him, the move he made a moment ago, so he can make the inside move work on Dave Blaney.
Blaney lost a couple of spots to guys on the outside, so he said, I'm going to the top of the racetrack and see if my Amico car will run up there like these other guys. Now LaJoy is having some problems.
I was getting ready to say a minute ago, the guys that I assumed would go to the top of the racetrack, the Dave Blaney's and the Jimmy Spencers and that crowd, they've gone exactly opposite. They've gone to the bottom of the racetrack.
All right, we are past the 50-lap mark, and now Winston Cup veteran Mark Martin is our leader. Mark Martin, the winningest driver in the NASCAR Busch Series, picked up his 5th career win for the season last week at Darlington. He is showing the way tonight at Richmond International. Back with more in just a moment. Well, at the skyline of Richmond, Virginia, in the distance here, just a few miles away from downtown Richmond, we are in Henrico County, Virginia, out at what used to be the Richmond Fairgrounds. But now, Richmond International Raceway, beautiful 3/4-mile facility, stacked with about 60,000 tonight for the NASCAR Busch Series event. Over 103,000 will be here tomorrow night for NASCAR's Winston Cup event, the Exide Batteries 400.
See Jeff Burton trying to take over that 3rd place from Jimmy Spencer. That is Jeff in the number 9 yellow car. Spencer number 12. You see Todd Bodine in 66. And here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. That ACDelco Chevrolet trying to take over 5th spot.
Earnhardt Jr. started way back in the field. In fact, he was back in 20th starting position, now moving into 5th on the inside, or trying to inside of Todd Bodine, and that would certainly help him in this points chase. Now, you got to wonder, the tires sort of coming in now for Earnhardt Jr., right, Ray?
Well, they really are, Doc. You know, one thing we were talking about at the top of the show, Kyle said about guys that learned from the truck race last night. Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr., of course, didn't run the truck race, but Ron Hornaday did, and they've learned a great deal. They know that Earnhardt's car's fast on the top or the bottom, but they said they learned last night that the tires pick up a lot more rubber when you're running at the bottom, so they've told Little E to move towards the front. And, guys, I'll tell you what, that 45 car has really made a move, so Adam must have learned quite a bit last night.
And
hey, inside. We know how he races. If we're going to let him go, we'll let him go.
That's Chris Hussey telling him.
Keep running your line, buddy. Still inside.
And take a look and give a call to 19-year-old Adam Petty. Started 43rd, Benny, and he is weaving his way through traffic like a master.
And he did a terrific job in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series last night. Ended up working top 10, didn't he, Kyle?
Yeah, he ended up 10th last night. He did it last night in a Dodge pickup. He's doing it tonight in a Chevrolet. I'm thinking about letting him drive my Pontiac tomorrow over here in the Winston Cup side because he's done an incredible job so far.
He has. Give a call to the young man. And there is Earnhardt Jr. making another pass. That's for position. Puts him in 4th spot. Now, where is Matt Kenseth, who is chasing him in the points? He is being shown back in 24th position. Kenseth started 30th. Now make it 23rd as he's made a pass and trying to work on the 15 car of Kenny Schrader for position.
And Schrader's trying to work on Wayne Grubb, Kevin's brother. That's Wayne in the 83 car. Schrader in 15. Matt Kenseth has his hands full tonight trying to get around Richmond International Raceway.
Just 7 events remaining, 6 after tonight to decide the NASCAR Busch Series title for 1999. Of course, both Kenseth and Earnhardt Jr. will be going full-time to NASCAR Winston Cup next year, so neither will be a factor. It's basically for both drivers, their last chance at a Busch Series championship. Speaking of the guy who won the title last year, Earnhardt Jr., as you watch Kenseth get beneath the car, here is Earnhardt's 3 car trying to move in on the Zippo Chevy of Jimmy Spencer. That would be for 3rd position.
Let's see if Earnhardt can make these passes on the bottom. He gets pretty good run off the bottom. I think Jimmy's going to let him go. I get that feeling. No.
It looked like about halfway down the straightaway, Jimmy had the idea he was just going to let him go off in the corner, and then he just drove off down in there.
Little E, very, very smooth. As you heard Ray Dunlap say a moment ago, they learned a lot from Ron Hornaday running the NASCAR Craftsman truck event last night. And Earnhardt, very deliberate, very smooth, Kyle, on those tires, getting in and coming off the corner.
Yeah, incredibly smooth getting in the corner. And if you watch him, he waits all the way around the corner, and he runs a straight line up off the corner. He's not letting the car drift out and turning it at the last minute when he gets to the wall. He's running a dead straight line, which is being very, very easy on the tires.
Jeff Burton drops back another spot as Todd Bodine in the 66 takes over the 5th position. So our pole sitter has dropped back to 6th spot.
There's Chad Chaffin, his first outing in the Lear car. The Jimmy Means prepared machine had a spin early on, like lap 30, lap 22, I should say. Did not lose a lap. There was no caution flag. As he goes by the 17 car for position, putting himself in 22nd spot.
His best finish was 19th. I'm sure he'd love to beat that. I'm sure that he'd love to drive that 77 car for the rest of the year. See David Green in the 41 car trying to get by Shane Hall. It's a battle for the 13th spot. He takes it.
Now you're watching exciting NASCAR Busch Series action live from Richmond International Raceway, but a big night in sports. We're going to tell you that Sammy Sosa out of Houston is the next batter due up, and we will be chronicling his progress tonight. And when Sammy gets up at bat, we will be able to switch and see him hit. As we will head now to Baseball Tonight Studios and Brian Kenny to update the Sammy Sosa story. Take it away. Thanks, Brian. We welcome everyone back to Richmond International Raceway. We will continue to update the Sammy Sosa progress tonight as the Cubs taking on the Astros out in the Astrodome. Of course, more on SportsCenter coming up later tonight. Sosa trying to make baseball history as we watch Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the car number 3. Now he has pulled to 2nd position, about a half a car length behind the 32 car of Jeff Green. Earnhardt a moment ago trying to make a pass, got himself in the middle of a 3-car battle as the caution now being waved again.
Coming out of turn 4.
Heavy impact to car number 40, flames beneath the car, a billowing of flames beneath the car number 40 of Glenn Allen as his car comes to rest down on the grass area, and Allen trying to get the belts unhooked and get out of that race car. See the flames beneath the hood, and he's trying to bail out as the caution now waving for the 2nd time tonight.
So now Glenn Allen's going to go over and try to raise the hood. It's a good way of getting your hands burned. I put my gloves back on if I was going to take those hood pins out.
See if we can show you what happened to the Channel Lock Chevrolet. Here was the battle a moment ago for the lead, Earnhardt and Green. Now look at the top of your screen.
Looks like the right front tire goes flat, like he's run over something. Cut the right front down because we can see it's flat as he heads for that wall, and all that fire, the fuel pump on the Chevrolet engine is on the right side. So a lot of times when these guys hit the wall that hard, they shear the gas line off, and that's where the fire comes from.
And it continues to pump fuel out, and now you see the fuel ignite. And look as the car comes right at our camera at the start-finish line. Watch the flame just boiling out from beneath the right side of the hood.
See Spencer going by on the inside. Here comes all the leaders down pit road.
35 miles an hour headed to you, Ray.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. on his way down, moving all the way up to 2nd place. The 3 car hits the pit stall here. Earnhardt says he's very, very happy, so they don't plan to make any chassis adjustments here. Right side tires go on, fairly routine here. Looks like everything's okay as they move to the left side. First can of fuel is in, now to Bill Weber.
Jeff Burton has the best position on pit road. He needs more air pressure in his front tires to go faster earlier in the run. He wants a half pound out of the rear tires because the car's been too loose. They also made a wedge adjustment and bumping up the rear spoiler. Car's already off pit road. Long stop for the 9. Todd Bodine has a tire in front of his car, and now Burton runs into him.
Wow, close quarters in the pits. This is the first caution flag of the night where we've seen the leaders on the pit road. Actually, second caution flag of the evening, but the first time we've seen everyone come down pit road. As you heard our pit announcers chronicle the adjustments, a lot of adjusting going on in the cars, particularly in that 9 car who was our pole sitter. Air pressure up in the front, down in the back, a wedge adjustment. So a lot of changes being made here on this first stop. All right, we are under caution because of an incident involving the car number 40. Let's show you from Shane Hall's car, or show you from the in-car camera, rather, what happened to Glenn Allen. Ouch. Hard impact for Allen, and now you see the flames beneath the hood. As where is Glenn Allen walking back behind pit wall. We'll come back and chat with him in just a moment. Sunday night football on ESPN. The Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Cleveland Browns. The dog pound is back. And the coverage begins with NFL primetime at 7:30 Eastern Time. We'll kick it off at 8:15 Eastern Time. NFL on ESPN. Steelers Browns coming up Sunday night. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Well, the caution flag at Richmond International Raceway, that's what's left of the car number 40, the Glenn Allen car. Caution came out on lap 82. We're going to show you what happened to the car number 40 of Glenn Allen.
He's up between 3 and 4, and for some reason, I guess they run over something, cut the right front tire down right in the middle of the corner. The tire goes flat, and into that wall he goes. I think he knocked the gas line off as he hit the wall, and we see the flames out that car from our speed shot. Watch as the car goes by, hitting the wall, on fire.
Kyle, you commented commercial, it's that second lick that really hurts.
Yeah, like Benny said, it's not the first lick. This lick, the thing goes down on you right here. And it goes up, and you're braced, and it hits real hard. Then it's this one right here. Even though the second one doesn't seem too bad, you've got no air in your body, you've got nothing. You've already lost that tenseness, and you're just flopping around in there.
All right, pit stops have taken place. Let's check in the pits with a review with Bill Weber.
Well, first of all, for Jeff Green, his car was very loose, so they made a track bar adjustment. Obviously, they took 4 tires off and put 4 new ones on. Well, Todd Bodine, who's pitted directly behind the 32, picked up one of those tires when he left the pit. And he also got 4 tires, but the problem with his car was that he was also loose. They made a wedge adjustment, added the fuel, and when Jeff Burton made contact with the 66 car, it was only slight contact. Burton has reported that everything's okay. Ray?
Well, Bill, it was a fairly long pit stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. They had to pull the fenders out on the 3 car, so their pit stop was 22 seconds. But for Mark Martin, a very good pit stop, 17.4 seconds. They went up 1 round on the right rear. Mark says this car is very good. Mark now goes out in 2nd place. Earnhardt loses a few spots. He'll roll off 5th.
All right, let's look at pit summary. Take a look. You'll see Burton's problem coming up in a moment. Jeff Green in first, out 4th. You see the transition. Earnhardt 2nd to 5th. And there's Burton's problem, 6th to 7th. Only 1 spot as Kenny Schrader will lead him down. Restart here on lap 91.
Buckshot Jones, once again, the 00, trying to get a lap back.
Schrader now trying to hang on. Gets a serious challenge from Mark Martin up the back straightaway. They are 2 by 2 and really jumbled up coming off turn 4.
Well, that's a recipe for disaster right there. Cars side by side, faster cars in the back trying to get to the front.
59 car of Dillon on the inside. You see the Kingsford car. He is 3 laps down in 40th spot. He was involved in a tangle on the first caution of the night back on lap 31.
There's Mike Skinner, 19 car. He's a lap down, I believe, trying to get a lap back. And there's Jimmy Spencer trying to get on the inside of Mark Martin in that 12 car. And they're going to go 3 wide into the front spin. Is that Earnhardt Jr.?
Stay the high side. Stay high. Stay high.
No, it's Bobby Hamilton Jr. Oh,
and right right up in front of Adam Petty.
God.
Heavy impact as the car came right up across the racetrack, and he gets punched hard by that sprint car, the Adam Petty machine. There is Hamilton Jr. pulling away. You see Adam unbuckling. Fortunately, you see him moving around in the car because that was a hard lick. And you called it.
How bad is it, Chris?
Chris can't see it. Unfortunately, the spotters here are down in turns 1 and 2. I don't think Chris can see it. Watch as we see 9 car of Jeff Burton go up and just touch Bobby Hamilton Jr. The 22, around he goes. Burton finally still locked together. Man, this is forever. Finally, Burton is able to get by with damage to his car. Now then, Hamilton's car right here. The wheels are turned to the right, so when he comes to a stop, he turns right across the racetrack.
Comes right up in front of Adam, and Adam has got a car above him and a car below him, so Adam couldn't go high or low. Here again is the contact between the 9 and the 22. Kyle, look how long Burton stayed on the side of this car.
Yeah, and he just drove in. You see Burton's car tore all the pieces right there. And then Bobby goes back up the racetrack, and they're already 2 and 3 wide, and these guys have got no place to go, the 45 and the 89.
And Jeff Fuller comes down, and he will also tag Adam once again from the Outlaw Copter Cam high above. There's the contact, middle of your screen. The 22 car sideways. But it looks like normally Jeff Burton, a car, you stay in the throttle and the car will actually move away and you can go on, but that car wouldn't go anywhere.
It wouldn't go anywhere. It was just sitting sideways, then was sliding sideways across the racetrack. Normally you'll push the rear end out of the way, but not there. And oh man.
And here comes Fuller in. He gets into contact as well with the 45 car. Now from the Lysol in-car camera of Elton Sawyer riding behind the Bob Evans car right in front of him. You see the smoke. There's the 9 pushing the 22. He's able to get through, and
look at Landon LaJoy just about crashed up in the 3rd corner.
Wow, well, we are working the 3rd caution flag tonight. A wild scramble up the backstretch on lap 93. Back with more live action in just a moment. .com. Well, Ray is caught up with Glenn Allen Jr., who took a hard lick a little bit earlier. Ray?
Well, Doc, the last 4 weeks, the 40 car has failed to make the field, but Glenn Allen got him in this week. Glenn, was there any indication that that right front tire was going to let go?
No, none. We got down in the corner, all of a sudden heard a pop, and along for the ride we went. The Channel Lock Chevy was pretty good. We were pretty excited about making the race. Thought we were going to have a decent run, and all the guys on the Galaxy Motorsports team did a great job. Just ended too short for us.
Any idea what the next race will hold?
No, just looking for an opportunity. Just glad to be here. Glad to give the 40 car a good run, so hopefully I'll be back at Dover in something.
Okay, so far it was a 1-race deal for Glenn Allen. Now to Bill Weber.
Well, Jeff Burton has been on pit road 4 times. He just left. Obviously, they've lost a tremendous amount of track position. They're maintaining that most of the damage is just sheet metal damage. They had to make a number of tape patches to put on the front of the car. They had to be very careful not to cover up the air going to the radiator or the air going to the brakes. They did not change tires. Buddy Parrott himself over the wall underneath the car, checking to make sure the suspension and everything else is okay. Burton says the toe is not a problem. So he thinks they might be able to work their way back to the front. Remember, he's working with a brand new crew chief for just this 2nd week, Steve Hibbert, who is working his 2nd race with Jeff Burton. He came down from the Busch Series after Tommy Morgan went up to the Cup Series from Roush Racing. Let's go to Ray.
Well, Adam Petty, I should say, just walked out, finished 28th here in the spring. Another short night for you. Tell me what happened out there.
Just a lot of smoke and a big wreck in front of me, and I didn't have nowhere to go. Nobody's fault. We had a great car. We took a provisional and came all the way up to 15th and worked our way up. We just needed long green flag runs, and we had a bad pit stop and got in the back and of the pack and trying to work our way back up and got caught in a wreck, and it's just short track racing, man.
But it was pretty fun making all those passes, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun. It just shows what a great team I have. You know, Chris Huzzy came on board today, and we're really pleased to have him on, and we're just trying to get to the front, and we were doing it.
Okay, still got a smile on his face. Adam Petty walks out of the infield care center.
Boy, from 43rd to 15th, he showed a lot of talent here tonight. Unfortunately, he got called in the situation. And he said right there, Kyle, what happened was they had a bad pit stop, and they were back there where they shouldn't have been.
Yeah, and, you know, it's like you say, you got a lot of guys, you watch the race, and you watch what goes on, and you can take half these guys on pit road and take them out of the race because they just have bad pit stops week in and week out. And that shows how much of a team sport it is. It's critical. Once you're doing it on the racetrack, you got to do it on pit road, too.
There's Steve Hibbert trying to get the adjustments made to the car number 9, the track gear Ford, who was our pole sitter. We are working the third caution flag tonight. Jimmy Spencer is our leader after 100 laps. Perfect timing back at Richmond International Raceway. Jimmy Spencer leading his first laps of 1999, and this is 6th Busch start. His best finish had been a 5th at Las Vegas back in March of this year, and the Zippo Chevrolet showing the way here at lap 103 of 250 in the Autolite Platinum event tonight.
Well, Jeff Green just is trying to be faster. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is trying to go by. Looks like he's going to be able to get it done. And there's Kenny Wallace, the Duraloop car on the inside of Jeff Green. Right now, Green is hung up behind, I think, Kenny Schrader. He finally goes down to the inside of Schrader to try to get by as Kenny Wallace now gets on the inside of Schrader.
Jeff Green was an early leader here, started on the outside front row. Now after that round the pit stop, finds himself mired back in traffic.
Oh, and Blaney crashes hard.
And Todd Bodine is involved. Shane Hall is involved. There's an impact from Tony Raines. So 4 cars. Kenseth made it through. And here comes Spencer down to take the caution flag for the 4th time tonight. Coming out on lap 106. And they're still spinning and bumping as the 43 car of Shane Hall tries to get going.
Right front tire is flat on the Country Farm Chevrolet. So we can see the sparks out from the back of that car.
Saw the 93 car. Dave Blaney spinning. You saw Todd Bodine's car sideways. I'll show you again what happened here last lap by.
Go down in the corner. And Todd Bodine gets it loose. And when he has to chase the back end, he goes up the hill just enough to touch the 93 car in the left rear. And watch Shane Hall, that 43 car. He's sliding those brakes, trying to stop, as Matt Kenseth just barely gets by on the outside.
Now from Shane Hall's roof camera, we'll show you. Now watch Hall. He has a car to his outside. That's a 63, so he couldn't go anywhere, Kyle. He had nowhere to move.
No, and that's the problem. When things like this happen, you take a car and you put it sideways in the middle of the racetrack, it gets to be a narrow racetrack awful quick. And then you got somebody on one side of you.
Boy, great move by Ward Burton in the 47 car to get by.
And this is on the other end of the racetrack after the accident. They're just trying to get back to the caution flag at that point in time.
Now from the Outlaw Copter cam, you see Todd Bodine's cars. You heard Benny say get loose and catch the side of Dave Blaney, and there is Shane Hall. He had Rich Bickle on the outside, had nowhere to go, and you see weaving through, threading the needle was Ward Burton in the car number 47, the Monroe Muffler Chevrolet.
And the 17 of Matt Kenseth. I think both those guys kind of weaved their way through that wreck the same way. Both those cars yellow. And look at the damage to Blaney's Hamilton Pontiac.
Hey, Blaney came into the night 8th in the points. I told you that 6th through 10th, there was only 60 to 70 points per position, so that could change tonight. And a lot of heavy damage. You see that part of the fuel cell support bracket dragging the ground back there as he tries to pull back behind the wall.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's the fuel cell that's dragging right there, because the rear clip has been so far down that the fuel cell is on the ground in that car.
Steve Bird and Gil Martin will go to work on that car as we are working caution for the 4th time tonight due to this incident here. Coming up out of turn 2, the 66 car gets sideways, taps Blaney to 93. Shane Hall has nowhere to go and bams the back of the 66, bringing out caution number 4 on lap 106. More live coverage in just a moment. Back at Richmond International Raceway, I'm Jerry Punch along with Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber under caution for the 4th time today. Now, we told you there could be a lot of things changing in the top 10 of the NASCAR Busch Series points. There's the top 10, and Benny, you can show us the guys who've had trouble. Mike McLaughlin is in that bunch.
McLaughlin back in 10th. Also, Todd Bodine is on pit road right now. Dave Blaney doesn't look like he's going to be able to get back on the racetrack tonight. Well, he may be able to get back, but it's going to be several laps before he gets back out there.
All right, and speaking of Dave Blaney, our Ray Dunlap has caught up with him. Ray?
Well, Doc, this team had a great race in the spring here, finishing 10th. And, Dave, I know you had a good car tonight. Looks like an awful lot of damage there.
Yeah, we were fair. We're just kind of hanging in for now. trying to get it better. But yeah, I don't know, just got ticked a little bit in the way it went. But man, we didn't need that.
I know 8th in points. This is the last thing you wanted to see. To have this much damage, going to lose quite a few laps, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've been pretty consistent lately. Had some good finishes, mostly top 10s, and I'm sure we had a top 10 car tonight. We got it just a little bit better, but just trying to get sorted out there after restart and got nicked.
Okay, good bit of work left to do here. Now to Bill Weber.
And Ray, a lot of work to do on Todd Bodine's car. He's got substantial sheet metal damage on the right side and the left rear. They've been working to try and repair the sheet metal on the right front on several pit stops. Now they finally had to go a lap down because they had to change the right front tire, which has gone flat. So they changed the right side tires. They're going to have to peel more sheet metal away. It's also leaking water, so eventually that's going to put them out. It's knocked some of the duct work away from the brakes, so that's going to hurt. These guys came in 4th in points, had high hopes, still trying to at least climb as high as 3rd, but right now they've got a long night ahead of them, and now the NASCAR official wants them to fix the front end of the car, which apparently is going to drag when they pull away. So long night, getting longer here for Todd Bodine and company.
Boy, indeed, Bill, in the end of a streak, Todd Bodine's worst finish in the last 15 races was a 15th spot place finish up at Nazareth. He had 12 top 10s in his last 15 outings, and as you said, he was 4th in the points. So tough break for Todd Bodine tonight. Now, we told you a big night in sports. Sammy Sosa trying to make baseball history out of the Houston Astrodome, trying to become the first ever player to hit 60 home runs in consecutive years. As we will take you there now and check in on Sammy Sosa.
Fastball in on his hand.
Back at Richmond International Raceway, we'll take a look at the top 5 after 113 of 250 laps. Spencer, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the points leader, Kenny Wallace, and Jeff Green. That's the top 5. 1 to go. Next time by, Matt Abernathy will wave the green flag. After the 4th caution flag tonight, a 4-car incident involving Todd Bodine, Dave Blaney, Tony Raines, and Shane Hall.
And I don't know how much damage that Rich Bickle in the 63 car might have had, because he was the car that Shane Hall ran into and knocked the right front tire flat, punctured the right front tire. See Curtis Markham there in the 29 car running in 7th spot. Great run for him. On board with Elton Sawyer, the 98 car. He's back in 10th spot. Shane Hall. Dick Trickle still in this action. Snyder on board camera. Mark Martin, the Winn-Dixie on board in 2nd position as he looks at the green flag wave.
Green.
Now Jimmy Spencer will pull away, restart on lap 116. That caution flag out for 9 laps. As we are about 9 laps away from the halfway point here in Richmond.
Mike Dillon on the inside, trying to get back up front. Mike Dillon is still laps down, still 1 lap down. And there's Earnhardt Jr. going for 2nd spot.
And he's on the inside. Earnhardt Jr. is the 3 car, the blue ACDelco colored car. Now he's on the inside of the 60 car, Mark Martin. But they have a couple of lap cars right in front of them, Mike Dillon and Jeff Purvis. Again, the battle raging for 2nd position. Now Kenny Wallace will come up and try to make a move. You see Earnhardt, that's out of the Winn-Dixie bumper cam as Martin pulls right back in front of Earnhardt Jr.
Mike Dillon.
Elton Sawyer. Sorry, Benny, go ahead.
Elton Sawyer just trying to get by the Kenny Schrader car that is in battle for the 9th position.
Good job, Elton. Good job. Keep her smooth, buddy. Keep her smooth.
There's that 63 car that I was talking about. Looks like there's not a lot of damage to that Exxon car. I thought Shane Hall hit it pretty hard.
Our Lucas Oil telemetry with Elton Sawyer on the Lysol Ford, showing you his miles per hour, and he dropped down under 95 and up well, just almost 128, well, over 130 miles an hour.
135 miles per hour that time. This actually ought to be more miles per hour down the front stretch. Yes, we saw 142 down the front stretch. This dog leg makes the front stretch a little bit faster.
Front straightaway here is 1,290 feet, only 800 to 860 feet down the backstretch. So about 7 or 8 miles an hour faster down the front stretch than he is the back straightaway.
22.65, fastest car on the track.
Wow.
All right, Matt Kenseth now trying to make some moves, and he is being shown back in 14th position as he tries to make the pass beneath Kenny Schrader, and he will indeed make the pass by Schrader for 13th spot.
And Robert Preston, that 61 car, trying to follow Matt Kenseth through, and he will. So it looks like whatever pit strategy that Schrader had in that Oakland Holmes car, either 2 tires or just staying out, is not working that well.
Now, even though track position is important, he's losing some valuable time right here. But, you know, I think in the long run, it may work out. It depends on how his car is running. If his car is not capable of running with a Mark Martin or a Dale Earnhardt Jr. and those guys, then it's going to play into his hands. If not, then he's pretty much just dead in the water right now.
So Randy LaJoie drive on the inside of Kenny Wallace and take away that 5th spot.
Come all the way from 23rd starting spot. As in one lap, we will be getting the halfway signal at Richmond International Raceway. The leader at the halfway this year has won 10 of the 25 Busch Series events, including the last 2 where Kenseth won at Bristol and Martin won at Darlington.
And Todd Bodine has taken the Phillips 66 Trop Arctic car behind the wall.
And that could indeed shuffle the points. He is in 4th spot, although he has a 133-point margin over Elton Sawyer back in 5th.
Turn 2 up here. Caution is out. Car up in the high side of turn 2.
Spotters telling their drivers that Shane Hall is up in the outside groove off of turn 2, bringing out caution number 5 tonight on lap 125, exactly halfway.
The right rear tire is flat on that car. It looks like that's what might have happened. The right rear tire went flat. He spun the car up in the corner.
Shane gets the car righted, puts it back in gear, and you can see underneath the car, Benny, exactly what Benny is talking about there, the right rear tire. A lot of smoke from that, and the safety car will pick up the field.
Let's check the onboard camera as he goes down in the corner. Goes down the corner, right rear tire just simply went flat.
Yeah, and I think he already knew he had trouble because you could see he went down in there and he just barely spun around and didn't even get into the wall. While all that was going on, I'm pretty sure Jeff Purvis in the 4 car made his lap up on Jimmy Spencer, and he was running at that point in time. He was really good.
And that indeed is what we're showing, Kyle, is a great pickup on that Purvis, now being shown in 31st spot, the last car on the lead lap. 5th caution flag tonight being shown on lap 125. Back with more live coverage from Richmond here in just a moment. Here under caution for the 5th time tonight. Shane Hall's cut right rear tire presented a spin up in turn 2 with him and brought out the caution flag. So we'll get set to go back for green flag racing. We are showing lap 131 on the restart, but the caution, I believe, came.
Go.
Mike Dillon, that 59 car, went up, touched the 12 car of Spencer, trying to get a lap back. Oh, it looks like Mike Dillon, that Kingsford car, has a pretty good race car tonight.
Unfortunately, he was involved in a spin back on lap 31 where he got tapped, and that cost him 3 laps. He and Mark Martin get together. There was definitely contact there a moment ago, going up off the corner.
And Earnhardt Jr. gets by Mark Martin, goes in that 2nd spot.
Spencer the leader. He's the 12th car. Earnhardt Jr. in 2nd spot in the blue number 3. Then the Winn-Dixie colors for Mark Martin is 3rd. Jeff Green in 32 car is 4th. If you watch this battle here, the guy who was 4th coming into the points tonight is now behind the wall and standing with Ray Dunlap. Ray?
Well, Todd, we saw that you hit a tire on pit stop there, and the car was running a little bit hot, but that was the least of your problems tonight, right?
Well, that was the start of the problems. We hit the tire, which wrinkled the ductwork up and put a hole in the radiator. Took a long time for the car to get hot, but it started getting hot. When I was underneath Dave there, the overflow must have been full, and it just pushed water out underneath the tires. And they came around on me. I hate it for Dave. and Bill and Gil and the whole crew. They got a good program, good team. I hate it for them. I'm sorry about that. It's just one of those things. Filled their overflow up and pumped it out in the ground, and around I went. But they tell us in the drivers' meetings every week that crew chiefs, make sure you pick up your right rear tires after the pit stop, and they didn't do it. The car in front of us, and I hit it, and it messed the whole night up for everybody. The Phillips 66 Chevrolet was running really good. We were a little loose on the first run. We adjusted it. It was going to be pretty good. I was just trying to bide my time, and because of somebody else's mistake, we're sitting here in the pits, and there's a few other guys that are in this wreck that shouldn't be.
Well, guys, they call this race car twister, and it looks like it's hit a cyclone tonight in the 66. All done for the evening.
As you were listening to Todd Bodine, you saw Mark Martin make his pass for the lead, and now Earnhardt Jr. trying to set up Jimmy Spencer.
Yeah, Mark Martin was in third, and he passed two really good race cars, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Spencer. One on the outside, one on the inside to come back to the lead.
Remember that little bump he got just a moment ago coming off turn 4 down in turn 1? It looks like that Mark Martin said, "Now, wait a minute, guys, come on, I've been playing around with you guys. If you're going to get this serious, I'm just going to go up here and pass you guys and get out of the way."
That's what it looks like he was thinking when he did it, because he went outside, inside, I'm in the lead, come catch me now.
Yeah, it just made him mad. Don't make Mark Martin mad. And here's Earnhardt Jr. trying to make a move on the inside of Jimmy Spencer, and they nearly touched coming up off the corner down the back straightaway. That is for second spot. You see the 32 car now beginning to move in. That is Jeff Green, the Kleenex machine, back in fourth position.
Now, you don't know which one to follow. Do I follow Spencer? Do I follow the 3 car? Which one of these guys is going to win this race? That's the one I want to follow. Well, let's see. That's still pretty undecided.
Well, Jeff Green better do something, because Randy LaJoie is coming back behind him. He's narrowed the gap now to about 4 car lengths for the position. He is back in 5th. Well, there comes the 1 car, top of your screen, and now Jeff Green says, "I can't wait any longer. I'm going to make a move beneath Earnhardt Jr." And Earnhardt Jr. comes in, so I'll go with you.
Boy, I tell you what, it's great to see 2 grooves on a racetrack where these guys can run side by side like they are tonight.
But the problem with them running side by side like they are right now, they're racing as hard as they can race. Mark Martin's racing as hard as he can too, and he's pulling away from them.
As they race side by side, they're 1 mile per hour slower than Mark Martin.
And the interval now is drawn to over a second and a quarter for Mark Martin. And there is Matt Kenseth battling with the car number 63 tonight. That's the Exxon machine, driven by Rich Bickle out of Edgerton, Wisconsin. They are battling for position. That is 11th and 12th spot. Reminder, if you just joined us, our interval in the points coming into the night was just 26 points between Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth, with just 7 events remaining. Now, our pole sitter tonight was the car number 9 of Jeff Burton, and he's had his troubles tonight. They've made some significant adjustments on his car, but let's check in with more in his pits and Bill Weber.
Well, Jerry, on that last caution flag, Jeff Burton pitted, and that may not seem like a big story when you come out 27th with just 130 laps in, but they can go the rest of the way. Very few other cars out here can. Their car has been as fast as the leader. The only problem for Burton now is that bent up front end, which he says makes the car a little bit too tight, and all the traffic he's got to get around. So mark that down. Burton can go the distance. Obviously, when everybody else pits, they'll have fresher tires, but Burton may come out of this with a good car and excellent track position.
All right, Bill, we'll keep an eye on that. Could be some strategy playing into Jeff Burton's hands. As you saw just a moment ago, Earnhardt Jr. taking the second spot away from Jimmy Spencer. And now he'll set his sights on the 60 car. But as Kyle, you mentioned a moment ago, Mark Martin's had free racetrack to be able to pull away for about the last 12 or 13 laps.
Yeah, he's had a clean racetrack, and he's been able to pull away a little bit. Now that Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s got around the 12 car, he seems to be running Mark down just a little bit. But, you know, it's going to be a while before Mark catches traffic. And traffic will be a factor, but Mark is a master at working.
Last time by, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was 86/100ths of a second behind Mark Martin. This time he's exactly 1 second behind. And Randy LaJoie, once again, at Bob Evans Restaurants, trying to get on the inside of Jeff Green.
LaJoie started back in 23rd position. Has fought his way into the top 5 in 5th spot right now. Last 2 times he's been at Richmond, he hasn't fared well. The 15 car, that's Schrader, showing a little bit of smoke from beneath that car. And the Oakwood Chevrolet, that's the Andy Petrione machine. Smoke getting a little bit worse from beneath the car.
First, it looked like a gear, some of the rear gear smoking, but I think now that I'm not sure. Looks like it might be coming from the front of the car.
Yeah, it's hard to really tell where it's coming from, but it appears to be getting worse. You know, as it barrels off from the corner and jumps back into gas.
A little bit of contact. They call it the action track, Richmond, Virginia. And Jeff Green couldn't quite make the move, and he has to get on the brakes, and so does LaJoie behind him.
Right now, Jimmy Spencer is holding up the wool. Look at that right front brake rotor. Cherry red as these guys hit the brakes hard going down in these corners. Watch this left front. Look at that left front wheel when he goes down the corner. See that bright red? That's the brake rotor just turning cherry red. Right now, Spencer is holding up this group. I think both Jeff Green and Randy LaJoie could run faster, but they got to get by him, and that's going to be a pretty tough task.
150 laps are complete of 250. Just 100 remain in our live NASCAR coverage of Busch Series action from Richmond International Raceway. Mark Martin is our leader. Back at Richmond, Mark Martin is our leader. As just as we come back, there's a crash on the start.
Got a couple cars spinning on the front straightaway. A lot of smoke.
A lot of smoke. 43 cars. Shane Hall involved. The 5 car is involved. That is Dick Trickle. And you see our leaders now winding their way through that cloud of smoke, as the caution now coming out for the 6th time tonight.
Phil Parsons was also involved in that crash.
Well, you see the Phil Parsons Alltel Chevrolet with damage on the right side of his machine. But moments ago, watch this near wreck in the battle for 3rd position between Jeff Green and Jimmy Spencer.
This has been going on for lap after lap. We'll never see Jeff Green go up, make just a little contact, about 1 more inch of contact, and the 12 car would have been around. As Randy LaJoie tries to drive on the inside, man.
And now the most recent caution flag from Dick Trickle's Snyder in-car camera. There's a big cloud of smoke. You can't see a thing, Kyle.
Couldn't see anything. It looked like Shane Hall got into Phil Parsons coming up out of the corner, and Dick Trickle didn't have a clue.
Down to the pits and Ray Dunlap.
Well, this is Mark Martin's favorite car, old number 54, and he is saying that it is absolutely perfect. They're going to go up a half a pound on the right rear. That's the only chassis adjustment for Mark Martin. Now to Bill Weber.
Jimmy Spencer's car has been tight, but he's still been able to keep most of the field behind him. Air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel. He'll be able to get to the finish. Earnhardt Jr. is away. Spencer's going to try and beat them all off pit road. He will. The 32's right there as well, followed by Martin and Matt Kenseth with a good stop.
That was an awesome stop.
Well, that's Matt Kenseth radio. Great pit stop for Robbie Reiser and the crew and the DeWalt team as they head back out. And there's a look at the car number 17. Now we're going to show you Shane Hall, who was involved in this incident. Look from his bumper cam looking back up the racetrack. The 5 car is the Snyder car right behind this car number 18. One more look from our camera at the start finish coming right at you.
See the blue car on the outside.
That was Phil Parsons, the blue car on the outside, and gets tagged, and he gets some damage on the outside. Dick Trickle is involved, and Shane Hall is involved. The 3 cars at lap 158 for caution number 6. Back. Coming up 11 o'clock Eastern Time, Sports Center will check in on Sammy Sosa's attempt to put himself in the record books as the only player with 60 home runs in consecutive years. Can he help the Cincinnati Reds in the tight National League Central race by beating the Astros? Also, Pedro and the Yankees pitching matchup, Andy Pettit and strikeout artist Pedro Martinez. Getting set for green flag action back at Richmond International Raceway. Restart lap 164. And what a scramble we've got toward the front of the field.
The 36 car, the Stanley Tools car, is Tim Fedua. He is the leader. And I tell you what, behind that, it's a genuine mess. As we see, there we are, 3 abreast.
And the car number 9, Bill Weber, did make a pit stop.
Well, a lot of stuff going on out there, but obviously one critical factor was that Jeff Burton did stop on that last sequence, but all they did was make a chassis adjustment and work on the front nose of the car. 6.2 seconds. They topped it off with fuel, track position critical. Burton maybe a contender down the stretch. Ray?
Well, Bill, Matt Kenseth gained an awful lot of spots on that pit stop, about 6 or 7 positions. I thought they maybe took on 2 tires. I went down to check with it. Robbie Reiser said, "Are you kidding me? With where we're at in the points, no way." They took on 4, but they did gain spots with a good pit stop.
Indeed, you see Matt Kenseth's career at Richmond, his best finish 3rd, coming here twice. He's now being shown the 17 car back in 14th position, mired in heavy traffic in the bar of Benny Parsons' line. This is a recipe for a wreck, right?
This is absolutely a recipe for a crash.
Take a look at our AutoZone race recap. Our leader is Tim Fedewa. He's led just 7 of the 166 laps so far. There have been 7 lead changes, 6 caution flags for 43 laps. That's why the average speed is down to 82.9 miles per hour. Our lap leaders, aside from Fedewa, Jeff Green, Jimmy Spencer, Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, and Kenny Schrader.
Here's Jimmy Spencer moving into 2nd spot. Goes by Jeff Purvis. Here comes Dale Earnhardt, trying his best to get on the inside of Spencer. Battle for 2nd.
And you'll notice off the track there was Tony Raines. And now out of race, you see in our AutoZone recap Schrader, Bodine, Blaney Petty, and Bobby Hamilton Jr., along with Glenn Allen and Mike McLaughlin, as you watch this battle raging on the racetrack for 2nd position.
That big mix-up you saw just a moment ago, Matt Kenseth has moved back to 18th position. I think he picked the wrong line. These cars were 2 abreast around there. He got the wrong line, and backwards he went.
Now battle for the lead. Spencer looks to the inside of the Stanley Pontiac for Fedewa. Can't quite pull it off. Fedewa has the momentum up on the high line. Now entering turn 1, Spencer will hug the bottom of the racetrack. Door to door, he will open the door for Earnhardt Jr.
I think Jeff Purvis got in the wall off turn 2. That time 3 wide off the corner. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Spencer has it as he comes down the line.
We are inside of 80 laps to go down Richmond International Raceway. Earnhardt Jr. now will try to take the spot away, and indeed will, coming up off turn 2. So Spencer the leader. Only his 6th race in 1999 in Busch Series competition. Had not led since Homestead of last year coming into the night.
Watch this off turn 2. They are absolutely 3 wide. Mark Martin, Jeff Green, and Jeff Purvis. And Purvis gets up high enough and almost loses the back end. I think does just graze the wall.
Now Earnhardt Jr. getting a little bit racy. Trying to see if he can maybe make a move on Spencer. I tell you, Kyle Petty's Jimmy Spencer's got to be one of the toughest guys from what I hear in the garage area to pass anywhere, but particularly on a short track.
On a short track, that car may look like it's about 4 or 5 or 7 or 8 feet wide, but believe me, Dale Earnhardt Jr. thinks it's about 35 feet wide right now because Spencer is doing everything he can to keep him behind him.
All right, we told you that we're going to let you updating Sammy Sosa situation, so let's check in on Sammy Sosa getting ready to hit out in the Houston Astrodome. Let's check in back in the studio with Brian Kenny. Thank you, Brian. We are back at Richmond International Raceway. I'm Jerry Punch along with Benny Parsons, Kyle Petty, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber in the closing 70 laps of NASCAR's Busch Series action. A heated battle up front. Jimmy Spencer is the leader in the car number 12. The 3 is Earnhardt Jr., but the guy chasing Earnhardt in the points may be having a problem. Let's check in with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, we told you they made a good move on that last round of pit stops, but about 6 laps ago, Matt hit the wall hard over in turn number 2, and he said the toe is all knocked out of the front end, and the 17 car now has fallen back to 27th position, so hitting the wall, a very bad break for Matt Kenseth.
And there you see the right side of that 17 car was basically pancake where he'd come into contact with the concrete. Back up front, a continuing battle, and Kyle Petty, that's got to be frustrating.
The restart, I can hardly turn the wheel like it's got a flat right front or something like that. Then I hit the wall.
That was Matt Kenseth radio talking to crew chief and
Hardly turn the steering wheel.
Man.
I got a feeling we got the whole front suspension bent on that thing.
Here he goes. He's going to get on the outside.
Before I hit the wall, I couldn't even turn it.
Matt Kenseth talking to Robbie Reiser and telling me as he came off the corner, he couldn't turn it. Oh, Earnhardt wants on the outside so bad. I think he's going to make it on the outside this time.
Well, he's up on the outside. They touch. There's contact coming off of turn 2. And now there is the car number 60. That is Mark Martin may be able to make a move out. He will take the spot away from Earnhardt.
Earnhardt Jr. had to back off the gas when Spencer came off the corner and made him squeeze out of the gas. And Mark Martin saw that and jumped to the inside, took the spot away.
Yeah, but, you know, one of these deals right now is, you know, somebody should be telling Dale Jr., hey, Kenseth's having trouble. He's already hit the wall. Protect yourself. You don't have to go up here and win this race tonight. All you got to do is play it smart. And, you know, he may be doing that. He may not be doing it. I don't think if his name's Earnhardt, he ain't doing it. He's going to the front. I can tell you that right now. But that was an opportunity when he checked up. Here's Mark, the only car that we've seen pass on the inside and pass both of these cars. He's back to the lead around the 3-car and the 12-car.
All right, Mark Martin, who picked up his 5th win last week at Darlington, 5th win of the 1999 year, 39 career Busch Series victories, more than anyone else in the 14-year history of this Busch Series. Mark Martin showing the way here with less than 65 laps to go at Richmond International Raceway.
Battle for the 9th position between Kenny Wallace in the 25, the Duraloop Chevrolet, Tim Feedwell, the Pontiac, the Stanley Tooth Pontiac, and Elton Sawyer back there in the 98 car, Lysol car, watching this. He's in the 11th spot. Here comes Earnhardt, the battle for second.
Well, he is down on the bottom of the racetrack, and you saw Spencer's car move way up across the racetrack. That was the opening Earnhardt needed.
Well, Spencer just let him go. I mean, he just said, okay, Mark Martin has got by me. I'll let you go up there and try to win the race. But when it was for the lead, he was going to block all he could. But once Martin got by him, he just kind of moved over and let Earnhardt Jr. go by.
But, you know, as a driver, that just makes you mad because you wore your tires out trying to get around the 12 car. Couldn't get around him, couldn't get around him, couldn't get around him. Somebody else comes up and passes him, and then he pulls over and lets everybody go by. And he lets you go by, too, but it just makes you mad that you wore your stuff out.
Now, Elton Sawyer's been able to get by the 36-car Feedwell, and here comes Curtis Markham, the 29 car, back up on the inside.
Curtis Markham having a great run tonight in the Husqvarna car. Curtis, a Virginia native, an infrequent competitor in the NASCAR Busch Series, looking for a good full-time ride. Very talented driver, former Winston Racing Series regional champion.
He had worked his way up into the top 10 and had a bad pit stop and had dropped back to 16th or 17th, and now he's worked his way to be right outside the top 10 again.
Jeff Green trying to get by Spencer. He's on the bottom of the racetrack. Squirts out, but that Spencer has the good. He's got momentum and maintains that position.
And Bill Weber, our pole sitter behind the wall.
Yeah, Jerry, Jeff Burton's night is finished. They picked up a front-end problem. He had a real bad chattering problem with the front tires, and basically they were in a situation where they knew they weren't going to win. It was pretty much in the way on the racetrack. They want to race that car again later this year, so they've decided to park it. Basically, he could not hang on any longer. High hopes for the home state kid, but we'll be wishing for better things tomorrow night.
All right, indeed. Hopefully for better things and some contact. Rubbing fenders. They call Richmond the action track. Battle for position here side by side. Spencer and Jeff Green, neither one willing to give a quarter. And take a look at the car number 35 right behind him. That's Elliott Sadler, who has come all the way from 35th starting spot.
Jeff Green's trying to push Spencer up the racetrack all he can to get that momentum, and he finally takes that spot away.
He kept easing up. He eased up a foot, another foot the next corner, another foot, and just finally just took him up far enough where Spencer had to ease out of it. But Elliott Sadler has done a tremendous job. Started 35th, kind of snuck into the top 10 a minute ago, and we didn't mention it, and then he had a pit stop and dropped him back, but he's charged right back up to be in 6th place now.
All right, as you watch that battle, Earnhardt making another run for the lead up front. He had a fender underneath the 60 car of Mark Martin, and Martin was able to pull away by a couple of car lengths coming up off the corner. A reminder that coming into the night, if you just joined us, the point separation was just 26 between Earnhardt Jr. in the car number 3 here, who is the points leader and defending champion, of Matt Kenseth, who has had some contact with the wall, and now his car number 17 being shown way back in 27th spot.
And look at Randy LaJoy, that red car right by Earnhardt Jr. He's gaining on these two guys.
As we approach the 50 lap to go mark, it's going to get even more exciting as it winds down toward the checkered flag. Mark. They call Richmond International Raceway the action track, and you see why tonight. 6 caution flags in the span of 195 laps. Heavy contact. It has been a crew member's nightmare and a driver's whirlwind as they try to find their way through as they beat, hammer, saw, and tape, and pray that somehow you could survive 250 laps at Richmond. And there's the guy they are chasing right now, but its latest victim is the car number 32, Jeff Green, who slowed a moment ago. Bill Weber?
Well, they're not absolutely certain, but they believe the problem for Jeff Green is the rear axle that had just snapped. Now, remember how hard he worked to get around the 12 car. Might have used up his car a little bit. No way of knowing for sure. They're going to leave him out there, limp around as long as he can. But these guys very disappointed. Thought they had a shot at it. Had to battle to get around the 12 car. Now they're going to have to try and just limp it on home.
Now remember, Jeff Green was 3rd in points coming into the night, so the 3rd and 4th place drivers in points have had their problems. Jeff Green, Todd Bodine is already behind the wall. We mentioned Dave Blaney in 8th. He's had problems. McLaughlin, who was 10th in points. By the way, an update on Mike McLaughlin. We are being told he's been transported to Bon Secours Hospital for observation. You saw the hard impact earlier tonight when the car number 34 slammed the wall on lap 31 to bring out the first caution flag. Once again, Mike McLaughlin, we are being told, transported to Bon Secours Hospital locally for observation.
There we see Jimmy Spencer has fallen back to the grasp of Elliott Sadler, the 35, the Scana Chevrolet. And Jason Keller, the 57 car, back in 6th spot.
First time we've been able to talk much about Jason Keller, a 2-time winner this year. 57 car starting back in 13th position. Former pole sitter here at Richmond. Here's a pretty good battle. The Duraloop car for Kenny Wallace, the car number 25. And then there's Kevin Grubb in the 37. That's the Timberwolf machine, the Clarence Brewer car.
Battle for 7th and 8th position. Jeff Green on the bottom of the racetrack going slow to clean that car with that problem that Bill Weber told us about just a moment ago.
Just 43 laps remain here at Richmond International Raceway. Mark Martin is our leader. Earnhardt Jr. in 2nd spot. Randy LaJoy all the way from 23rd starting spot is 3rd. Spencer is 4th. Elliott Sadler from 35th starting spot all the way up to the top 5. Jason Keller is 6th. Battle here is 7th and 8th. Side-by-side action for 20th position. The 4 car of Purvis. Almost an identical paint job as far as the color orange on the car number 5, the Snyder trucking machine of Dick Trickle. That car is actually owned by Jimmy Spencer.
Looks like Purvis will maintain that position right now. Here's Jason Leffler, the MBNA Pontiac. I think this is what, Jared, you tell me, his 2nd NASCAR Busch Series start?
Exactly. Impressive young man. And what a nice, clean job he has done tonight. I hate to even say that, Kyle, because I don't want to jinx the young guy, but he struggled in his first outing, rather, at IRP. He used up a couple of race cars, but he's had a nice, clean outing tonight. And right behind him, another young driver, Justin Labonte, Terry Labonte's young son, doing a nice job. And we are being told, Benny, that NASCAR has black flagged the car number 32 for slowing down, and they will take the car back behind the wall. After a great run, you heard Bill Weber say they had a problem with the axle, and this kept getting slower and slower. So there's the man 3rd in points, and they take the rear end gear back there. They pick it up. That's what's in that big silver pan. They carry it around to the back of the car. They're going to be hard-pressed to be able to get...
Oh! The leader gets behind Justin Labonte, and they make some contact off the corner, and Mark Martin now still 3 wide.
I don't know if Justin got out of shape or if Justin was trying to get out of the way and Mark got into him or what happened, but Justin did a great job of saving that thing because it was in a four-wheel drift right across to the inside of the racetrack down in the trash.
Well, he did a heck of a job. Young man who was former Winston Cup champion Terry Labonte's son.
Ernie Sadler also back there. Oh, and we see the 61 of Presley going round, and that's going to bring out the caution flag.
It is out. Caution's out.
And caution will be shown now for the 7th time tonight here on lap 214. That's the IWX Pontiac of Robert Presley spinning. Let's show you what happened a moment ago to Mark Martin as he was coming up to pass Justin Labonte. The 60 car is Martin, the 44 is Labonte. Labonte just gets a little bit sideways right in front of him.
Yeah, he's got down below the 18 car and he just stands in the gas and it just jumps out from under him. Mark takes it down in there. Justin's not sure what's going on. Justin goes on down in the corner, sees Mark and backs off a little bit. Lets Mark and Leffler go to the high side there. The 61 car that spun was running in 10th at the time he spun.
All right, leaders pit stops. We are inside of 45 laps to go. So we're going to show you triple plit spits. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Mark Martin will come in the Winn-Dixie Ford. We see the ACDelco Chevy of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 1 car of Randy LaJoie. Martin, a routine pit stop here, said he's very happy with the car. 2 tires go on for the 3 car, 4 tires for Mark Martin, now to Bill Weber.
Jimmy Spencer is here. They plan to get 4 tires. I'm really surprised that they're going to do that. I thought maybe they just would take 2 for track position, but it's a 4-tire change. Fuel for weight at the back of the car. The 3 is apparently going to be the 60 off of pit road. Now the 12 is away. He'll drag race the 1 to the line, and it's the 36 off of pit road.
Wow, great work by Tony Uri Sr. and Jr. to get Earnhardt Jr. out in front of Mark Martin after that pit stop with just 35 laps to go. There is the Winn-Dixie onboard camera. You see him trying to get some heat in their tires. Now, why do we have caution coming out for the 7th time tonight? Well, we'll show you. Robert Presley's Pontiac had a little bit of a problem.
Goes down the corner, just a little touch from Chad Chaffin. And he finally tries to save it. No, he can't save it. Around it goes.
Action hot and heavy at Richmond International Raceway. We'll come back with the final laps after this. Stay with us. Back at Richmond, Virginia, the NASCAR Busch Series Autolite Platinum 250 getting down to the final laps.
Green, green, green.
And Jason Keller will lead him down to the restart on lap 219. 31 laps to go.
Some cars stayed out there. Chose to stay on the racetrack. Going to see Mark Martin right in the middle of the 3 wide off turn 2. I wouldn't want to be in Mark's shoes right now, not in the middle of that. Oh, we got a crash. Oh, the 47 car hits the wall hard, and he gets into Randy LaJoie.
And LaJoie, this FIDA was involved. He gets contacted from behind by Robert Presley. And wow, now a chain reaction accident, and there's a lot of frustration there in the pits. There is the Bob Evans car.
Man, oh man.
Randy LaJoie.
There's Ward Burton going by.
And that was from the LaJoie pits a moment ago. The James Finch, who owns that car, and some of his group there watching, and certainly a very big disappointment. LaJoie had come from 23rd starting spot to contend for the win, and now that's the damage on his car. We'll show you again what happened on the restart here just a moment ago.
Well, they come off the corner 3 wide. That's the first problem. And right there, LaJoie goes in the middle. I see the 47 car of Ward was going to follow the 12, and Randy LaJoie stuck his nose in there. They make contact, and Ward goes up and pounds that outside wall for the 2nd time today. Then he comes down and, bam, gets into LaJoie.
Now watch the 36 car to the right side of your screen. He gets turned by Robert Presley, and he will back into the 1 car. All right, a little bit different angle this time as you look at from overhead.
Ward hit that wall pretty hard.
Watch how he hits the 1, and the 1 car gets up in the air, dances in the air. FIDA thinks he's through, and he gets hit from behind by the 61 car. Presley was trying to avoid the incident. And Tim Fito, who was leading just a few laps ago, now is involved in an incident. Now, down in James Finch's pits and LaJoie pits, they're watching the replay and the monitor. Oh, frustration. We had such a great night going. We had a chance to win this thing, and now that's what's left of our race car. Heavily damaged. He tries to pull behind the wall, try and get the car to turn behind the wall. As he turns right in front of the damaged car of Ward Burton.
See, the right front tie rod is broken, so the right front wheel, well, he is turning a little bit right now, so but he does get it behind the wall. Tough break.
Oh, indeed. Caution for the 8th time tonight. For those of you tuning in, our ESPN coverage of live Busch Grand National action from Richmond International Raceway is being brought to you by Just for Men. Just for Men blends away gray hair in 5 minutes. Looks so natural, no one can tell. By the more than 2,700 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Daytona USA, the official attraction of NASCAR. You don't think our NASCAR fans are tuned in? He knows exactly what's coming up next. Browns are back. He's a Dick Trickle fan. How about that? Thank you very much indeed. That is indeed what's coming up next. The Browns are back, our NFL programming. Coming up at the conclusion of our coverage of NASCAR Busch Series action from here at Richmond International Raceway. Let's check in on the pits with Bill Weber.
Okay, here is the right axle that just came out of Jeff Green's car. They've replaced it and sent him back out on the track. This goes to the drive flange, or the wheel side of the car. This goes in the rear end gear. You can see both these sides look the same when it starts, but not when they finish. This totally broken off. They're very disappointed. They were in a points battle, currently third, trying to run down Kenseth and Earnhardt. But BP, you can see, and Kyle, how this broke off here. The other side's fine. That's some wear and tear. This is only 2 races old, this axle.
You know, the amazing thing about that, the NASCAR Busch Series cars use a 390 carburetor, so they only produce about 550 horsepower. The NASCAR Winston Cup cars use the same thing with 725 horsepower. So
all that difference in torque, and it still broke the axle.
That's right. You ever see Mark Martin on the inside of Earnhardt? Oh, and he's behind Chad Chapman in the 77 car.
Earnhardt blocked in with less than 25 laps to go. This is for the lead, or will be for the lead, as Jason Keller is being shown as the leader on the restart.
And Elton Sawyer right there, that Mark Martin's on the inside going for $1 million. Can Martin get on the outside now of the Shane Hall car? Yes, he goes in a second.
And that Elton Sawyer, by the way, his sponsor, Lysol, will donate $1 million to Children's Health Fund if he wins it tonight. A lot of people back at the Children's Health Fund pulling for that car number 98, Elton Sawyer. And the guy who was a big loser in that wreck a moment ago, who was a contender to win it tonight, Randy LaJoie, standing with Ray.
Driving a race car is a lot of fun, right?
It was the lap 220 something. You know, I got to hand it to this Bob Evans crew. They gave me a race car tonight, and we were coming. A final adjustment, I think. You know, we had something for the leaders, but got caught up in some lap traffic, I guess. That's tough here at my caution flag, the lap traffic on the inside, and they don't want to give up a spot. But, you know, race fans, I got another week or so to sign up for $1 million at Bob Evans Restaurants. Come on, we're going to Charlotte. We got to win one, man.
Well, you guys were talking about they might give away $1 million tonight. They could do it at Charlotte again. If Randy LaJoie wins there, some lucky fan will get $1 million.
Wow, indeed. So a lot of money being put up for the fans. And Kyle Petty, a master of traffic. You just saw it a moment ago, Mark Martin.
Mark Martin's probably the only guy on the racetrack not driving for $1 million right now, but you couldn't tell it by the way he's doing it, because he's doing it on the outside. He's doing, ooh, Spencer gets in the outside wall there a little bit. It looked like he's coming off that corner, but Mark does it on the outside, he does it on the inside, and he's just going to the front.
Earnhardt Jr. taking the spot away, Benny.
Boy, this is a huge swing in the points. If Earnhardt Jr. can just stay right here for 19 more laps, because right now, Matt Kenseth is shown in the 20th position. Look at Kevin Grubb on the inside back there battling position.
Kevin Grubb had a great race. He was almost in that last accident with Randy LaJoie. Did a great job going to the outside. He had a great race going last week until the last restart with about 15 races or 15 laps to go. He and Tim Fito got together and took him out of contention, started at dead last. So these are 2 good weeks for Kevin Grubb.
Kevin Grubb, the 37 car, excuse me, the Timberwolf car. There's the 77 car. Chad Chapin was involved in the very first caution flag today, actually involved in one of the early caution flags, and now he is showing up in 7th position in the Lear Ford.
Got Elliott Sadler on the inside of him right now.
Lucas Oil Products Telemetry, the world leaders in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants, showing you the speed now of Shane Hall's car.
So you can tell what a beat-up race car looks like, and we saw him earlier up to 142 miles per hour down the front stretch. This time, about 135 miles per hour. So all that beating and banging they've done tonight has not helped the speed on that car.
Back up front, Mark Martin is the guy they're chasing in the Winn-Dixie Ford. Martin, who won here in the spring in Busch competition, trying to hold off the challenge of Earnhardt Jr. in the 3 car, back in 2nd spot. Spencer is 3rd in the 12 car. Earnhardt Jr.'s closing.
He's closing. Now, he might be a little bit faster, but I don't know if he can do it on the inside. Meanwhile, you're 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Mark's not giving up the outside. I think he's going to let Earnhardt have the inside, Kyle.
Yeah, I think he is too. A minute ago, right before they had the accident, Earnhardt Jr. tried him hard for about 10 or 12 laps, and then he just settled in, and Mark began to pull away. And, you know, we're going to be in that window until about 4 or 5 laps to go, and it's going to be a tough race until you get to that point.
Earnhardt Jr.'s favorite race car. He told me earlier tonight this is the one he won with here last fall when he dominated this race, the one he won with at South Boston, Virginia earlier this year. Both Earnhardt Jr. and Mark Martin each have 5 Busch Series victories in 1999.
Now Mark has moved down to the bottom of the racetrack because it looks like that Earnhardt Jr. is making some progress there. So look, he's now moved to the bottom of the racetrack. I guess he's going to try to run wherever Dale Earnhardt runs.
Shots from above, courtesy of the fine folks at our Outlaw Copter Cam, giving you this panoramic view of the final laps. 12 to go. As you look down on the car length and a half separation between 1st and 2nd place. Let's check in the Mark Martin pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, you said that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has his favorite car. Same thing for Mark Martin. As I said, this is number 52. Same car that won here at Richmond in the spring. It also won at Vegas. Mark Martin did not take one single lap in happy hour. Not one single lap. When they call it happy hour, you know he was happy with this car because he didn't even practice.
Wow, that's quite a statement not to even go out in happy hour. Final lap, depending are coming up on 10 to go.
And right now that 3 car is all over that back bumper, gnawing it. Here he goes to the outside. He's on the outside. He's got that position.
Can he hang on? Can he keep the car high? Now he's pulling even with him down the back straightaway. There's some lap traffic up there right in front of Earnhardt Jr. and it moves high. That's Buckshot Jones who moves up and gets out of the way. Kyle, this may be the move to let Earnhardt take the lead.
Yeah, once he got to the outside, you know, Earnhardt's car's worked on the inside and on the outside. But this is the first time we've seen anybody pass Mark Martin all night long, I think, especially on the outside.
So Earnhardt Jr. does go in front.
We are inside of 10 laps to go, make it 8 to go, and that's the view from Mark Martin's Winn-Dixie in-car camera. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won this race a year ago, starting on the outside front row.
Now he's trying to get on the inside of Earnhardt Jr. Can he make the pass? You wouldn't think so. Earnhardt Jr. just passed him on the outside. You'd think that Mark would be at a disadvantage, but he's trying.
Earnhardt Jr. learning a lot at the hands of one of the masters here at Richmond International Raceway. By the way, those laps a moment ago were the first Earnhardt Jr. had led tonight, so he has gotten the bonus points now. And he might be able to hold off and get the win. 6 laps to go. And there will be just 6 races remaining in the 1999 Busch Series season. The $14 million tour comes down for 6 more events after tonight. And the Busch Series title, well, they're calling it a 2-man race between Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth. And right now, Earnhardt Jr. is the leader, and Kenseth being shown back in 20th spot, 1 lap down.
It does appear Mark can make that challenge. Maybe he's sitting back there. Maybe he's just trying to lull Earnhardt Jr. thinking he can't make a move. But I just get the impression that Mark can't do anything with him right now.
It doesn't look like Mark can do anything, but You know, don't ever underestimate Mark Martin in a race car. God only knows what he's thinking at this point in time or what he's going to do. Mark's car looks a little tight. When you go to the in-car camera, it looks a little bit tighter in the middle and a little bit tighter up off the corner. He's not running that smooth line that he had been earlier.
3 laps to go. Riding along now with Mark Martin as he watches the 3-car begin to stretch it out a little bit.
But watch as he goes down the corner, turns that wheel to the left, and keeps turning to the left, keeps turning to the left. Not much going back to the right, is there, Kyle?
No, you saw it jump back to the right coming out of turn 2, and a lot of times it'll do that at this racetrack. When the car's got a little push, it'll push up off the corner and then snap loose on you. You saw that the lap before where you had to correct back to the right around here.
Be white flag next time by for Earnhardt Jr. Started back in 20th position. The 24-year-old defending Busch Series champion. Trying to pick up his 6th victory in 1999. Is less than a half a mile away from the checkered flag. This win tonight by Earnhardt Jr. will extend his points lead over Matt Kenseth as he comes out of turn 4. And these fans are on their feet waving. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins at Richmond, Virginia in the Autolite Platinum 250. And here's a battle for position out of turn 4.
See Chapman in the 77 and the 4 car. Looks like Chad in the 77 car will take that position, and that will be for the 9th spot.
Great run by Chad Chapman. And how about the run by Dale Earnhardt Jr. from 20th starting position? A young man who had lost points the last 2 weeks and looked totally preoccupied earlier today in the pits. And look at the smile and that finger wave, and listen to that crowd as they cheer the 3rd-generation driver. And I expect we're going to see some donuts right now. Indeed, we are. Some spins of joy, courtesy of the ACDelco Chevrolet, and what an effort by Earnhardt Jr. Showed a lot of patience and a lot of maturity tonight, Benny.
He certainly did. I was really impressed with how well that he, and especially when he saw that 17 car, when he lapped that 17 car and realized just how bad off Kenseth was, it seemed like then he really understood what a great position he was in tonight.
Okay. There's Kenseth, who finished back in 20th spot, 1 lap down. You see him rolling down pit road. See the damage on the right side of his car. He got into the wall. They had to come down, make a late pit stop. And despite that contact, only lost 1 lap and ended up finishing in the top 20. So considering how bad it could have been, it's he dodged the bullet. Earnhardt Jr. led only 8 laps tonight, but they were the important ones. The last 8 of the evening, and he gets his 6th win in 1999. Let's go down to our McDonald's winner's circle and hear from the winner. Here's Bill Weber.
And a very emotional and excited Dale Earnhardt Jr. climbs down from the window on his car after a brief celebration after an exciting evening. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, man. I tell you what, we had a great race car. We can move around a little bit, get the car working high and low when we need to. What can I say? I mean, the car just went to the front. I just steered it and mashed the gas, and it done the rest.
Well, you had to pass some guys on the high side, and then you had to battle Mark there in the closing laps. Tell us about that.
Well, the high side was working pretty good. When the tires get about 15, 20 laps on them, the tires will get pretty wore out, and you can move up track and get some more grip, and there's still some sealer left up there. And I got Mark thinking, I guess, that I was working better on the bottom. And he moved down there, and so I jumped to the outside and took advantage of it.
Your buddy Matt Kenseth had a very rough night. That's big news for you. You were able to increase your points lead.
Yeah, I saw all them boys having trouble. I think all 3 of them behind me had trouble, but I'm just glad to be in victory lane, man. Number 6, we're going for 8.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. celebrates in victory lane again.
Indeed, his 6th win of 1999. We take a look at our unofficial results. Earnhardt Jr. takes the victory. Mark Martin, a great run. Of course, finishing in 2nd spot. Promo our coverage tomorrow from Richmond. Begins with NASCAR today at 7 Eastern Time on ESPN. Then our live flag-to-flag coverage, 7:30 Eastern Time. The NASCAR Winston Cup Exide NASCAR Select Batteries 400. Mike Skinner on the front row alongside Tony Stewart. RPM tonight, 11:30 Eastern Time, wrapping up all the action on ESPN2. Our results from tonight, unofficially, of course, from NASCAR's Busch Series action, Earnhardt Jr., Martin Spencer, Kenny Wallace, and Kevin Grubb rounding out the top 5, but a great run by Elliott Sadler back from 35th position.
We'll check out 16 through 30 this afternoon. We see just 18 cars on the lead lap. Mark Green will be the first car 1 lap down. Jeff Fuller will finish back in the 30th spot.
All right, in the final positions, you see Mike McLaughlin. By the way, he was taken to a nearby hospital for observation. We'll update you tomorrow in our coverage from NASCAR Winston Cup. The points, Earnhardt Jr. gains an additional 77 points to now lead by 103 over Matt Kenseth with 6 events remaining. Now, coming up next, of course, our NFL coverage. The Browns are back. That's up next to our National Football League coverage. The Browns are back. For Bill Weber, Ray Dunlap, Kyle Petty, and Benny Parsons, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, congratulating the 3rd-generation driver, the son of the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt Jr., our winner tonight.
This has been a presentation of ESPN.